also another place where Buddha's monastery. I think it's in Savatthi. Yeah, there was a very big Bodhi tree. I think it's the one they brought it from Buddhigaya. That was there, and yeah, all these places there in Savatthi looks different now to the time, Buddha's time. And, it was, yeah, it's interesting to see the Buddha's monastery there and the places where Buddha used to give his teaching. Yes, it's because in the suttas there are so many. There are many suttas mentioning this place, and it brought in us to understand this. It's very famous, this word, this Anapindika groove. So
many rainy seasons were spent there by the Buddha.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think,
and it's all been restored so beautifully. When I went 30, 40 years ago, it was just some ruins, but now it's been beautifully restored and maintained. Yes, it's a very special place because the Buddha spent so long there, as you mentioned.
Yes. There is
conditions for joy, conditions for understanding, or conditions for attachment, different moments.
Yes, it's also not easy to figure it out because there are lots of put the flowers there, and it must be the monastery here, and there are cells in front of it. There's the cells. It's the place where would be the Arahant, they meditate there. But it's there are changes took place on the other side of Savatthi. Across the road, there's a small path. It's cannot. It just it's nice to be there, to see, after all these years.
And Ajahn will be there next week because some Indian supporters are donating a large piece of land very near Savatthi. So the Dhamma Center, the Dhamma Home Center in India, is going to be established near Savatthi. So Ajahn will be there next week for the ceremonies.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, let's just see if Ajahn is here now. Ajahn, are you here now?
Yes, Swadika, everyone.
Swadika, Ajahn. Your voice is very soft, very quiet. I don't know if Kun Em can make it a bit louder.
Swadika.
Is it better now?
Very quiet, Ajahn. And Carmen, you mentioned just in passing, because I know we just use the word in general conversation, you said the place where the monks went to meditate. What do you mean by meditate?
who are you mentioning to?
Sorry, Sita, I meant.
Oh,
Sita
sorry.
mentioned. I'm sorry, I got the name mixed up. I was thinking of Sita, but looked at your name.
Sorry.
Sita mentioned that this is the place where the monks had their own kutis, their own spaces for meditating. So what was the meditating? What do you mean by meditating?
Meditating. Meditating. Yeah. They listen to the suttas the Buddha gave. So many suttas there, and some of them, like I read in the book, they go to places and meditate. Sometimes they are in a difficult situation. There was danger. Then so the Buddha asked them to meditate or these suttas or the other suttas to free them from danger, like the Ratana Sutta. It was during the famine time, and so the one with the snake, I cannot remember the name of the suttas, but.
So you mean by meditate, you mean by reflect on the sutta, reflect on the words of the Buddha, yes.
Yeah, because trying to reconstruct the cell there, it could be because it's the ruin. It's hard to recognize. Like you were saying, they were all very vile. Now they are cleaning it up. So it was in my mind, could be the places, because it was written also in the notice that here is the Anapindika's place. His stupas, I think, was in front of Savatthi on the other side.
And what about now? Now we're reflecting on the suttas, on the place where the Buddha taught. Is this meditating now?
Reflecting here and now, what was happening before, what during this time, because it was that time.
So it's just reflecting on the Buddha's time, and sometimes reflecting with kusala citas, and often reflecting with akusala citas, often with attachment, clinging to the story. But sometimes it can be a reminder for understanding now. Yes.
Yes. Yes, there's also there's another place also very interesting. It's not mentioned. The gate where he the west gate where he renounced the world. Yeah, it's to remember that connected with the life of Buddha and his. It's good to reflect there.
And can we say that now, at moments of understanding, if there's understanding of the truth now, that there is renouncing now? For example, at a moment of understanding of seeing or what is seen, is it renouncing? Or for renouncing, does one have to change one's lifestyle?
No, it's a reflecting on his life at that time, but now. Reflecting
but
now.
What about now?
Understanding.
If there is If there and at moments of understanding,
Yes,
is there
understanding.
renouncing? Is there nikama, renouncing at a moment of understanding now?
It's understanding now his renunciation and to see the place.
But what about the truth of renunciation now? What is the truth of renunciation? Does renunciation just mean becoming a monk or going to a special place or sitting in a certain posture, or can there be renouncing here and now?
No, that's not. There must be the understanding that it was the time of Buddha. It was that it was 2,500 ago. He made this.
But I'm talking about this moment, not 2,500 years ago, because a couple of weeks ago we talked about how the world is breaking up all the time and everything is on fire. So actually there's only this moment of thinking, this moment of seeing, this moment of hearing. So at a moment of right understanding right now of the world as it is, that is breaking up, the sound that appears and is gone forever, at the moment of understanding, there is renouncing, there is nekama parami at that moment, developing with understanding. So it's not a matter of waiting until we are wearing different clothes or going to a different country or living in a different place or sitting under a tree, but there can be renouncing here and now, renouncing of ignorance for a moment with understanding. So it has to be now, because there's only this moment.
Yes.
Let me see if Ajahn would like to try speaking again. Would you like to try speaking again, Ajahn?
Shall we listen to the Buddha's word?
Ajahn, your voice is too low. Can you please raise your voice?
Yes, I try. So is it clear enough?
I think it's all right, Ajahn. We can just put our microphones a bit louder or sound louder.
So shall we listen to the word of the Buddha, no matter he's at Savatthi or Ratchakriti or anywhere? What did he say? Shall we listen to the word from his enlightenment? Because the words the Buddha taught from out of his understanding of the truth, realizing what is there, no matter at Savatthi or any place. So what did he say? Just one word at a time, to study carefully about whether it's here and now, which can be known gradually until it's realized as what we have heard so true. So his word is just about whatever is there at any time, even right now. And what's the word about right now? To be known. His word about any time, and now we are here. What words should we talk about to understand that this is his true words from his own words? No other word at all. It's the word he said at any place, at any time, to be studied, to be understood, whether it's true or not, or whether can it be realized because it's there right now. That which is not right now cannot be known at all. It's gone and it hasn't come yet. So can there be any understanding of the word about this moment, any place, any time? Otherwise, we didn't carefully listen to his word. Each word can be considered and reconsidered and reconsidered. Anytime we heard about it or we are talking about it, whether it's there anytime. Or otherwise, we just ignore his word and think that we know who's the Buddha. But if there's no understanding of his word at all, can there be the moment to know who's the Buddha? Buddha? What did he say? So he was the Buddha, the enlightened one. What word to know that is the word of the enlightened one, Buddha? What did he say? Can we understand? Can it be proven? Can it be realized stage by stage? So true. Otherwise, no way to understand the truth of what is there as it is at all. So can there be the understanding of what is there now to know that it's his word out of his enlightenment, the very subtle truth?
Yes, thank you,
Talk
Ajahn.
about the word of the Buddha. How can there be the understanding of what is there now, anytime? So what did he just say? At any place, anytime?
Yes.
What did he say? What did he say? So we can study it more careful.
Yeah, the truth, understanding the truth, yes, that he experienced.
Can what is there in life be known? So we can talk about any word to get more understanding. Little by little. Is there in life any moment? So it can be learned because it's there, appearing now or then. What is his word about now, this moment? Or any time, anywhere? Is there enough understanding of his word about the truth in life? From moment of birth to death. Now and now and now and now and now unknown. Or there can be the beginning of studying the truth of this very moment, not at particular place or any place we'd like to study, because it can be studied any moment, any time, any place.
Yes.
So yet, otherwise it's not known. So is there any word that you better talk about it to understand it better and better until it's realized that it's so true? As what Buddha said.
Yes.
So any word anyone would like to talk about? The word of this truth, of the truth of this moment or any moment.
Yes.
So would you like to discuss more about renunciation? Because you mentioned about the Buddha's renunciation, and I was talking about how there can be renunciation at this moment when there's understanding, not a matter of having to change one's lifestyle or go to another place. But what do you think? Would you like to ask Ajahn more about renunciation or consider more about what true renunciation is?
Me? Yeah. Yeah, sometimes we forget that Ajahn was saying that it's the truth. He was understanding the truth that it's now, and that was the past, but it should be now, no matter in wherever we are. Am I correct?
Yes. So whatever topic we're talking about, the truth that the Buddha taught,
Yes.
renunciation, development of understanding, seclusion, whatever we're talking about, it has to be here and now. Because if we think there will be more understanding in India, or if we think this renunciation was just when the Buddha left his life in the royal palace, or if we think that here and now there cannot be true understanding, it's the wrong way. So whatever we have studied, whatever we have read in the suttas, whatever we have considered is about now. This is why the Buddha's teachings are just as relevant today as 2,500 years ago, just as relevant in the city in Germany as in the forest or in Jetavana. So it's seeing is now, hearing is now, thinking is now, renouncing ignorance has to be now at moments of understanding.
Yes.
Otherwise, we just dream and live in the fantasy of being in another place or another time, or lost in the stories about the Buddha's life without any understanding about Dhamma now.
Yes, the understanding was not deep enough. That's why the understanding the truth, but sometimes we forgot about this here and now. That is the truth is very clear, but it has to be at this moment.
And as you mentioned, we read in a translation about the monks going and meditating in the forest. But what does it mean? What is the point? Is it meditating now? What is meditating? Did the Buddha teach meditating?
No.
Did he teach about developing understanding?
Yes,
no
yes,
matter
about
in the forest or now. So otherwise we just repeat the words we've heard or read in translation, but it's quite meaningless if there's no understanding about the Dhammas now. Yes.
From time to time, one forget about the samadhi. One tries to understand very well, but this sama sankappa, that is needs further understanding, because because it's so important. It is on the second noble truth in the second eightfold path, and one forget from time to time about this.
So what is the reality of Samasankappa? What is the Cetasika? What is the reality?
Yes, that is it should be now, and the words, these are living words, and these are truth. Understanding
But
that
what is the reality? What is the reality? Because if you're talking about the path, we know that samadhi is the understanding about the truth now, the understanding of the reality appearing, visible object, sound, pleasant feeling, whatever appears has to be understood deeper and deeper until it's the direct understanding of the reality appearing. So now you mentioned sama sankappa. What is it? What is the reality? Otherwise, we just say the Pali words, but without any
it's
understanding.
The understanding the truth now. That is
The understanding is panya, cetasika, samadhi. What is sama sankappa that you mentioned?
Samakappa is translated as right understanding, noble understanding.
No, because right understanding is samadhi. So
they say right samadhi is right view. That's why
samadhi is panya cetasika. So whether we say it's right view, right understanding, wisdom, it's panya cetasika. So samasankappa isn't panya, it's not right understanding. It's vitaka cetasika. So now I think last week, I forget at which discussion, I think we were talking about vitaka and how vitaka arises with every citta apart from seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching. But even after seeing in the sense door process, each citta arises with vitaka. So it can be vipaka, it can be kiriya, it can be kusala, akusala, at moments of attachment. Vitaka is there, touching the object. But it's akusala vitaka. So samasankappa has to be the vitaka that arises with right understanding, touching the object for the understanding to understand, but it doesn't understand itself. So often we read words or we repeat them, but that's why Ajahn said, let's have one word at a time to consider carefully. So maybe you can just tell Ajahn which word you would like to consider more carefully. Vitaka and sankappa, the same, or renunciation or meditation, or just one of these words you've been mentioning. You can just think about which one you would like Ajahn to discuss more.
Sankappa.
Sankappa. Okay, sankappa.
Yes.
So vitaka is sankappa is vitaka, but Ajahn will be glad to chat more to you about it to you.
When we talk about vitaka, is it also renunciation? When we talk about to understand vitaka, is that we are talking about renunciation as well? That's why it's not just the word, but the understanding of the truth of what is it or what does it mean, renunciation. It's not just the word to talk, but it's the reality which is there to be understood. What is that? Renunciation. When we talk about sammasankappa, is it also renunciation? So, what is renunciation? I don't know. That's why I ask. What does it mean? See, it's not Thai word. So understanding the meaning of the word will lead to understanding the truth of that very moment.
Yes.
It's not Thai word, so what does it mean? Renunciation. Otherwise, when we talk about it, is it renunciation or just what we think only? That is renunciation. So what is it? Renunciation. So even we talk about vitaka or anything, is it renunciation?
Yes. Yes, yes. Yes.
So what does it mean? So we can talk about it on and on and on, whether it's so easy or whether it takes quite a long, long time when we know what does it mean, what is the meaning of it.
Yeah.
This is what Buddha said. So learn to understand the truth of the word. Otherwise, there cannot be any understanding of the meaning of any word. Just understanding what does it mean, but what is the nature of it? Or is it renunciation, or just the meaning and try to do or try to get it, but what is it? If we don't talk about it, can there be any understanding of what is meant?
Yeah.
The word of the Buddha about renunciation. When we understand the meaning of it, we can talk about it.
Yes.
So what
Yes.
does it mean?
Yeah.
It's the word of the Buddha, but what's the meaning of it? Is there ignorance now?
Yes. Yes, still.
So what is the meaning of renunciation?
Yeah, renunciation is a moment of understanding the truth of it. I was thinking.
Moha, Loba, Dosa, are they real?
Yes. Yes.
What's the meaning of renunciation?
understanding. Realization of the path, understanding the truth.
Say it again, please.
And she said that it is realization of the path, understanding of the truth. Is that right, Sita?
Yeah, that could be.
Realizing that. Yes, please go on. Realizing the path. But what is the path? Again. It has to be
Understanding the truth here and now at this present moment. The truth, the word.
So what is the now is gone?
Yes.
Anything to do with renunciation? And if there's no careful considering, there can never be the understanding of even just one word about the truth.
Yes, Ajahn. Yes. Thank you, Ajahn. Yes.
How long does, Sita, how long does renunciation last for?
It's very quick seconds.
Right. So, for example, now if there's thinking about one's trip to India or anywhere else with attachment, at that moment of clinging, is there any renunciation?
No. Understand
at the moment of enjoying what is seen, thinking of one's friends with attachment, is there any renunciation?
No.
So the true renunciation is not about the changing of one's clothes or being in another place. It's just for a moment, at the moment of letting go of ignorance and attachment. So that means just at the moment of kusala, and especially at the moment of understanding. Understanding renounces the ignorance and attachment, but it's just for a moment.
Yes.
So the true renunciation always has to be here and now. It's not the situation, it's not the place, it's not copying the behavior of the Buddha. It's the understanding of what he taught here and now that begins to let go of ignorance and clinging right now.
Yes.
And is it your renunciation or the Buddha's renunciation or the monk's renunciation?
No.
Who has renunciation?
That is Buddha's, everybody's owns the renunciation. Yes.
And in truth, it doesn't belong to anyone because it's just a Dhamma at a moment of letting go. Understanding is not yours or mine or the Buddha's in truth. It's just a moment of understanding when panya arises, no matter we call it right view or right understanding or wisdom. It's the panya cetasika that arises, understands what appears, and at that moment lets go of ignorance and attachment. So only with right understanding is there renunciation. So many people may change their life, may go to live in the forest or in the monastery or give away all their possessions, but without any understanding of the truth now, no renunciation.
Yes. You forget about this word. You always at this moment.
Yes.
The truth is, for this moment, I forget always this.
Yes. So when we talk about the paramis that have to be developed with understanding, one of the paramis is Nekama parami, and it is the letting go of attachment, letting go of ignorance, but it has to be with the development of understanding here and now. Yes. Otherwise, it's just a story about a situation, a story of the Buddha's life, a story of the Arahats at Jetavana. But the understanding of the true meaning of Nekama has to be now, at moments of with understanding.
Yes. Thank you. Yes.
So Sita, what I'd like to say is that at one point you said that it's because there's no understanding and we forget, and that you forget. So that's what it is. It's when the understanding is very weak, accumulative understanding is very weak, there's a lot of forgetfulness. So even when we hear the Dhamma, we don't think about the Dhamma that it's now. So it has to take time. It's very hard. Dhamma is very deep and subtle. And understanding can only develop very, very gradually, very slowly. So, so there's nothing to, just keep on listening. And one day there may be a day when you hear or read about the Buddha, apart from thinking that who he was, his qualities, you start to be reminded. You instantly be reminded about what he taught about the Dhamma now. And there can be more understanding at that moment.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, just reminded always it comes and yes. Forget and get reminded and then consider this is the process of the daily life, reflecting, wise consideration. Yes. Thank you.
So, Alan, we said that your birthday treat would be bringing up any of your topics. So, would you like to bring up any topics?
Cropping up on your DSG was somebody commented that ignorance is the absence of knowledge. But of course, when we're talking about realities, ignorance isn't the absence of knowledge, is it? It's more of a cloak which covers up the nature of reality. So it's a rather strange idea, isn't it? That ignorance is real, it arises, performs its function, and it has its own characteristic. Whereas normally, conventionally, we think of ignorance as the absence of knowledge, nothing there about knowledge about a particular thing. And so maybe just comment a bit more or a little bit more about the reality of ignorance.
Yes, people often think it just means when there's no understanding, there's ignorance, but they don't appreciate it is a reality itself. And unless it is understood, and unless it appears and is gradually more and more familiar as an object of understanding, then it will never be eradicated. But usually, like now, it doesn't appear. But when there is no kusala and when it's not result of deeds. Ignorance is there most of the time. So it's so very common. Whenever there's attachment, ignorance is there. Whenever there is aversion of any kind, ignorance is there. And when there's no attachment and no aversion, ignorance is still there, but it's unknown. So as you say, it is the cloak it hides understanding. We live in a world of ignorance most of the time, but it is a reality that has to be understood. And we know how very subtle it is. The asava of ignorance arises even in the sense store process. After seeing and a couple more, 3 more cheetahs, then ignorance is there, even in that sense store process. But it's the asava, the very subtle ignorance. Nothing is known about it. And even the stronger ignorance in the mind or not known, because it usually doesn't appear. But to become a little more familiar and appreciate it is there most of the time is very important. Perhaps Ajahn would like to add more about ignorance now.
There's no attention or intention to have ignorance to be the object, but right understanding begin to develop to understand what is there gradually, little by little, unexpectedly. Otherwise, how can there be the understanding of Dhamma? All Dhammas are anatta. That's why we learn about how come attachment, aversion, and everything. Because no understanding of the truth of what is there as it is, that it's not there anymore, no matter what. It's there only when it appears, but no understanding of whatever is there. So it goes on more and more attachment, aversion, and so on. That's why there can be the understanding of there is a reality which does not understand or it cannot understand what is there at all. And it's there at any moment. For example, after seeing, who knows? It's there. Seems right then, but no attention to understand the truth of that very moment that it's gone. Even it's known by hearing, considering that it's not more at all. But it's that moment ignorance appear, but learn about the akusala realities little by little. One can understand the difference between moment of very, very weak lopa, but there must be moha as well. For example, right now, when one is asked, what is there? At that very moment, is it right understanding of what? No understanding of even what is there now at all. Until there's more and more understanding, no clinging, no expecting, no one knows what will appear as the object of understanding. Because actually and truly, it's there all the time. Because now there is seeing, no attention to it while we are talking, thinking, hearing about the different moments. No thought about that they're seeing, and as a seeing must be ignorance too. Because we pay attention or we are absorbed with the lopa and the sorry and the whatever we're talking about, no idea about seeing. So after seeing, because it's seeing there almost all the time, and between different moments of seeing, what are there? Ignorance, unknown. The moment of the unknown moment is ignorance. Even it's seeing, it's not known as it's there. No attention at all. No idea about it. And there must be asava, avijjasava, and Kamasva, depending on what asva is there, Pavasva and so on. But it's there. The very, very, what to say, slight ignorance or akusa cannot be known until it's strong enough to be known, because it's there after seeing, hearing, and it's there after eating, talking, and so on. See, who knows each moment what is there, one moment to moment. So there must be moment of ignorance too, unknown, until there is the understanding what is there. See, ignorance is there, not know what is there at all. That's why learn to understand different kinds of akusla, and they are very slight, which cannot appear until it can appear, but so very natural in a day, in daily life. Just get up, wash and eat and so on. It seems like there's no attachment. And when there is attachment, there must be ignorance too. But they do not appear at all until right understanding can understand what is there gradually, little by little. By then, it depends on whether it is level of intellectual understanding. Begin to know. Right now, we are talking about seeing, and it seems like there's no attachment and no ignorance at all. But it's there already. Even the moment of stretching one's hand, akusla is stronger, but it's not known because the intention to stretch the hand is already there and then gone. That's why each moment there must be akusala, depending on whether it's very slight, very weak, or it's unknown until it's known. Gradually, by considering, there can never be ignorance, lopa without ignorance, and the akusa or akusala cannot arise without ignorance. And the moment when there is only ignorance, what is there? No attachment, no aversion, but what is there is not known. Gradually, if there is still the idea to know it, it's atta, it's I. That's why the renunciation, the letting go, ignorance, and other reality has to be so very, very clear in mind that it's not by just knowing, reading, thinking about it. It has to be by conditions, whatever is there. Even it's there, it's not known because only Panya can know. So at the moment, what is there? Panya only can know what is there. But when it's not Panya, it's not known. Ignorance again and again. Unknown that it's not I or someone, but it's ignorance right there. Until it can be known as it's just a reality. Different from attachment, aversion, and other jetasikas. Learn to renounce ignorance, attachment, and akusala, even in daily life, no matter what is there. Even thinking about going somewhere, what for? To understand, why not now? Without reading, considering, hearing, can there be understanding just by the place, just by wanting to go or to have it arise? Like Mekiya, he asked the Buddha to go to the place that he would like to go. But after that, no use at all, because it's the place that he had accumulated attachment and aversion in past life, long time ago. That's why all depends on conditions. But understanding that ignorance is ignorance. different from moment of understanding, stage by stage, intellectually, pariyati, patipatti, and pativeda, and the understanding of how subtle realities are will let go the idea of whether can it be known, attachment or aversion itself, or ignorance itself. Otherwise, it's not renunciation at all. Clinging is there, craving is there. So how can there be understanding when cling to something there instead of understanding the truth? Our dhammas are so very, very subtle, stage by stage. So right understanding has to go deeper and deeper and deeper, clearer and clearer to understand what we have said so true. But it's not the time to realize the truth yet, because all depends on conditions. So right understanding only can understand, no matter what degree of the weak dhammas and the strong dhamma, no matter it's so unwholesome, right understanding can let go by knowing that it's just a conditioned reality, no one there at all. So is that true? That is the moment of the development of right understanding.
Yeah, sounds true. To my level.
By conditions only. It renounced from attachment. So right understanding begin to understand very gradually what is there which hasn't been understood before. Until so keen, whatever is there is known. By not I, but right understanding begins to understand that level of Dhamma. Even now, how much understanding? What level about this and that? It's just the way Dhamma works. No one there at all. Begin to have more confidence of anatta. Otherwise, atta is there, unknowingly. That's why the path is so very subtle. So it is the fourth of the Four Noble Truths, the only way. So very subtle because it's now moment of gradually understanding what is there by conditions. Is it joy? So life goes on as usual. No intention to try to do something to get result. It's opposite. More ignorance.
I
That's
think
why
it's
people in
it,
the past time just lived as they have accumulated. The changing is there by right understanding and other sankhara dhamma. No doubt. What condition that? No one. But the understanding of the truth is firmer and firmer. To renounce,
So Sita, it's just the same everywhere for everyone. Then now, yesterday, some Vietnamese and Cambodian friends came to have a discussion with us, and the topic's just the same. Everyone would like to select or choose an object to focus on. Everyone would like to find a shortcut, but the Buddha taught that all dharmas are anatta. Nothing can be selected, nothing can be chosen. And this is why meditation, as people think of it, going to a special place, selecting a particular object, is not the understanding of the right path, the truth about dharmas as anatta, because seeing now cannot be selected, hearing now cannot be selected to arise. What is thought about now cannot be selected. What is heard now cannot be selected. So when there's an idea of focusing or observing or selecting an object, it's the I that would like this so much. So this is why the Buddha taught about the right path and the wrong path, because when it's not the natural development of understanding, the natural letting go, the natural renunciation, no matter the lifestyle, no matter the place we live, then it's the wrong path. As soon as there's an idea of being in a special place, having more quiet, avoiding people who we think are not a good influence, doing anything to find a shortcut or select an object, it's the wrong path, the opposite of renunciation. Even if the outer appearance, people think, oh, now they've left the household life, now they're living in a temple, now there's true renunciation. But it's not the outer appearance, it's the understanding of the truth that's important. And I know you appreciate this point.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Maeve, go ahead.
Yes, I'd like to direct comments to Alan. Happy birthday, Alan. But I really want to tell you how much I appreciate the videos that you've been posting. We were having, well, I wasn't there, but I'd listened to the discussion on Monday, I think it was, and a lot of it was about how difficult it can often be to talk about the Dhamma, teach the Dhamma to people who don't seem to be able to grasp what the central ideas are about. And looking at your videos, I thought how very accessible they actually made many Dharmic ideas. And I particularly like the way you like the voiceover of kind of everyday objects and scenes and situations, but it was like there was just that little nudge to think about those common things, those conventional things differently, because there's the sound of the teachings in the background. So it, on one level, it was quite lovely and quite simple, but on another level, I think could have quite a profound effect. If there was some willingness to just let go a little bit of fixed ideas, etc. So thank you very much for them. And I hope that they're kind of viewed widely, if that, by conditions, of course, But yes, thank you for your efforts.
Thank you for that. I think that you captured it well there, is that it's just daily life, which everybody has a different daily life, and there are lots of different situations there, but it's my idea is that the Dharma can be incorporated into daily life. And of course I enjoy seeing my own photographs, so it's in a sense a bit easier to listen to the Dharma, because to listen to pure Dharma is quite difficult, because I do have attachment, as we all do. So yes, it's just daily life. But also when I do the text I find very, very useful also, because the words which Ajahn says, or Sarah or Jonathan, are very short. You'll hear a sentence and then it's gone, but those sentences are worth bearing in mind again and again. And so they're so important. By putting them into a video and watching the video again and again, they're not lost. Whereas everything can be just gone immediately if you're not careful. So yeah, thanks for that. And I enjoy doing the videos. The text videos with the music take a long time, but the other videos I've got quite quick at doing them now. And yeah, I'm enjoying them. And yeah, so rare that anybody can appreciate them, because I appreciate they are difficult to grasp. So you have to have great patience to understand them, and also they're out of context of what has been said, so that they can also be easily misunderstood. Yeah, but thank you for that. Yeah.
And yes, they can be, but at the same time, I mean, the truth is the truth, and perhaps sometimes in context, like in the context of our discussion, it can be a bit overwhelming if someone is maybe listening without a lot of background and that sort of thing. So just the kind of the brevity of what is stated, I think has value. Anyhow, that was just an observation, and yeah, again, thank you.
Thank you. And also I think that you can also trace the words to the suttas, that they're the sutta in a different way, but actually all of those words very finally agree with what's in the sutta, but they're explained in a sometimes easier way, I think, than the suttas. So in fact, I very rarely quote the suttas, because they're there anyway, but without these words of Ajahns, it's impossible to understand the sutta. So yeah, and I'm very privileged to be able to listen, and to be able to do that as well, to share it as well. Yeah. So thank you for that. Appreciate that.
Sarah, just while I'm here, can I just ask a question, and it relates to Vitakka and renunciation that is being discussed. In terms of the wholesome and unwholesome aspects of Vitakka, the wholesome expressions, I suppose, of Vitakka include thoughts of renunciation. And then I think the other two are thoughts of not having hatefulness, or not having like harming intent. But the first one, the thoughts of renunciation, just in the light of what Ajahn was saying, I just wonder what the nature of that thinking would be. Is it precisely about letting go of hatefulness and ideas of harm, or is it was there something else? Are the thoughts of renunciation on a more general level? I'd appreciate just some comments from yourself and Ajahn, if you could add to that, please.
I think it's just the point that Alan was making, that there may be some brief words that are said, but actually it's what is in the sutta, but how are the words in the sutta understood? And by the way, I appreciated your appreciation very much to Alan, because he actually does so much for sharing and helping with the Dhamma. So it's nice on his birthday to appreciate it. But the vitakka, it is a cetasika that arises with kusala or akusala citas, as we said. We think of thinking and we think of thoughts, but at the moment of kindness, for example, when the citta arises with kindness, the kusala vitakka is there, touching its object, and at that moment there is the letting go of harmful thoughts or hateful thoughts. So the thinking at that moment is wholesome. It is letting go. And without vitakka, conditioned by memory and other cetasikas, there couldn't be that thinking with understanding and letting go of harm. And when we say thinking, it's just for a moment. That's the point. And so the thinking of renunciation, as Sita and I were discussing, it's just for a moment, that a moment when there's understanding, there is letting go of ignorance at that moment, letting go of clinging, letting go of akusala for that moment of understanding with right vitakka, samasankappa, when it's the path we're talking about. So vitakka plays a very important role. Without samasankappa, there cannot be samaditthi. They have to arise together. They support each other. So it is the reality that touches or leads to the object for understanding, to understand, for letting go, no matter whether it's translated as thinking, like in the suttas, or any other way. But I'm sure Ajahn will have comments that are much more helpful. So let's let Ajahn add more.
Thanks, Sarah.
Vitakka is not just the word, but it's the reality which touches the object, no matter after seeing, hearing, smelling. When it's just seeing, only that. How can there be idea about it or thinking about more and more about that which is seen or heard? That's why when it's sees and then gone, no one knows the object to be thought about more and more on and on and on through the mind door and to the other situation happening. So it is so very important one, as when we talk about the path without vitakka cetasika, how can there be touching the object to be thought about carefully each moment? Because the object's gone after seeing, the citta after it does not see because it's seen already. But the reality, the vitakka touches it, not enough, just touch it on and on for the other moments later to make it the idea and the word and the whatever is there. Without vitakka, the object just gone. No idea about it at all. That's why learning to understand what moment it arises. Because after seeing, it seems like there is the idea about that which is seen more and more on and on, depending on the accumulation of each one. So without it, there can never be at the moment thinking about it, like it, and so on. So we can see that it's just that which touch the object to be learned or to be interested or to be thought about in different science or way. So that's the function of the reality, which is touching the object for the other moment, on and on, to have that object. Because citta has to arise to experience object, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. If vitakka does not arise to touch it for the other moment, there will never be any what is now at all. And if Buddha didn't realize the truth, how can there be the understanding of that which touched the object all the time, every moment, to condition other thought or whatever, habits, accumulation, and so on. So vitakka is the makka, the path through. Just to understand that even vitakka is not anyone. What is real is Dhamma. It's different by its nature, by its conditions. Never last. Just in very short moment and then gone, never to return. Keeps on going by vitakka.
So
Ajahn,
Sita, just 1 minute, Nick. Sita, when earlier you mentioned and you were thinking about Pitaka being, the understanding, I
Yes,
think what you came across somewhere, you read or heard, is that it is Sammaditi and Samma Sankappa, which is
yeah,
Vitaka, which is the wisdom,
yes,
part of the Eightfold Paths.
yes, yes, yes. And there's another something that I'm also, and how about vichara? Vichara and vitaka is also together, yes? But I'm not
Yes,
so
but
very...
Vichara is not one of the Eightfold Paths. It's
No,
only
no, no.
Vitaka, which is, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
also mental factors, yes?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It always
thank you.
arises with Vitaka. And Betty's had her hand up trying to ask bring up a topic for quite a while. Betty, would you like to go?
Yes. How are Vitaka and Pasa different? How do they operate differently?
Well, for a start, Pasa arises with every citta, as you know. So even seeing now or hearing cannot arise without the contact of the object that has impinged on the sense space. So without visible object having impinged on the eye base and Pasa contacting that object, there cannot be seeing of it. So every citta needs Pasa to have contacted the object. That which Pasa contacts is what the citta will experience, even though they arise and fall away together, depends on what Pasa contacts. So when we talk about Vitaka, which, as we've been discussing, arises immediately after seeing and hearing, and it's difficult to find the right translation. So Ajahn uses touch as the object, In the sutras, sometimes they use mount the object, a bit like mounting a horse. So the Vitakka mounts the object or touches the object for the citta and other cetasikas to experience. But it's very subtle, it's very deep, so different from Phassa, which contacts. Vitakka plays an important role whenever there's thinking. That's why it's often translated as right thinking, but actually it arises even before there's any thinking about words or concepts or ideas, even in the sense door process. But without Vitakka, there cannot be any thinking at all. Yep. And as we've been stressing, yes, it's the second Sammasankappa's second fact of the Eightfold Path. Without the right Vitakka touching the right object, understanding cannot arise. So it plays a very important role in conditioning the understanding to arise. That's why they're grouped together as the wisdom part of the path, because it needs that Vitakka to touch its object. But Phassa is needed by every citta in all circumstances, contacting the object for the citta to experience. So that's why when we read the sutras, it's so deep and subtle. Carry on, Maeve, yes.
So just to clarify, without Vitakka touching the object afterward, there would be no cognizing of the object, say, in the mind.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly, because the seeing and hearing and so on, they're the result of karma, relatively weak cittas. They don't need Vitakka, they only need the 7 cetasikas to experience the object. But every other citta needs more than 7 cetasikas. They need Vitakka in order to experience the object.
Okay, great. Thank you, Sarah.
Good to hear you, Betty. Maeve, go ahead. We've just got a few moments. If there's anything else you want to bring up or ask Ajahn or anything, go ahead.
Just a really quick question about the object that Vitakka touches. Does that has to be a concept, is that right?
So it can be reality or concept. It can be any object. For example, in the sense door process, when attachment arises with visible object as object, Vitakka touches that object. So it's the reality, the visible object. But moments of understanding, when it's the path, it is a reality that is the object, an emitter of a reality that's the object. So Vitakka experiences exactly what the citta it arises with experiences, reality or concept, or nimitta of reality. Exactly the same object. So this gives an idea why the translation right thinking is not completely accurate, because even when it's the direct understanding of sound now, Vitakka has to be there with that moment of understanding, which understands that object.
What would be what would be a better translation of Vitakka?
This is why it's difficult. This is why Ajahn uses touching, but if we put this in a translation on paper, it can also lead to difficulties. So the best thing is to understand a little more about the nature of Vitakka. So understanding, for example, when it arises, how it arises with all cittas other than those pairs of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching. Apart from those 5 pairs, it arises at every other moment. We're not talking about jhana cittas. So begin to understand a little more about its characteristic. Then we can talk about Vitakka, but any translation has its difficulties. Okay, let's just let Ajahn have last words before we finish. Go ahead, Ajahn.
To understand any reality, it takes quite a long time. That's why I think that we can continue next time.
Thank you, Ajahn. Good words. So